first things first.
Sure.
I was having a conversation with my friend, our friend, Colin Linden in
Yeah.
Nashville, Tennessee. And I said, any messages for Harrison? He said, the main info is send him my love, a soulful, sweethearted, mighty man. Love to you, Colin. There you go. There's your message.
Wow. Well, I love the guy. I've got a lot of great things, good things, and memories about him from way back when we were both young in Hamilton, Ontario, and when he was a guy working in a shop fixing guitars. And then the very first guy who sent me any kind of money when I found out that I had prostate cancer, being on the stage with him and having him come to my rescue on 2 CDs and putting his heart and soul into it. So there's a long, a long history of compatibility through love and the mystery of music. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you did luck out because he's a great guy. And
Yes,
and he's honest and he's straight up. There's no BS.
None.
He the goods. He loves the blues. He loves you.
Yes.
What can you ask for, you know?
Well, the one thing that he has, besides being intelligent and the fact that he's spent a lot of time on his craft, and he's generous. I just find him to be just a down to earth guy, human being, and that's it. Yeah, that's first for me.
Rare friends, my friend.
Amen.
Most times when I get to the album title, it's come from a marketing team or it's come from whatever. This one makes sense to me. I'm trying to not put my own definition into thanks for tomorrow.
That's welcome.
But basically, it's sort of like you wake up and say thanks for tomorrow or thanks for today. Blessings, right?
Mm-hmm. To me, one of the most profound sayings in the blues is, I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
And it comes from a long history of actually believing that, with the history of my people being slaves, waking up in the morning, working from sun up to sundown. Waking up in the morning is the first gift that you get.
Sure.
Thanks for tomorrow. I don't rely too much on what happened in the past, but I'm alive today, as you are. We know what's going on. We know the suffering that's going on. And I think my job as a artist and as a singer and as a writer, and my duty is to somehow send people something that takes them out of the moment and puts them into this moment, even if it's for a short period of time, where we can all be thanks for tomorrow, today, which is the end of that sentence. And I just feel it's time to be positive about things. I mean, we really need it now. And I feel it very strongly about being positive in my music. I love the blues. I love gospel. I sang at a church when I was younger. I was a tenor. And my aunt also had a church in Detroit. We'd go to her church and then we'd go to see Aretha Franklin sing. And she also had a church here in Canada, St. Catharines. So I grew up with this gospel music and the love of the spirituality of it, and how it transferred people. People on Sunday could forget about Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get people to kind of remember that the Sunday that we used to seek is still alive and well. We can have it if we try.
There's a Charlie Mingus track on Mingus Aum called
Love him.
Mingus Aum, and it's all about going to church on a Wednesday, and it's like hand claps and stuff you wouldn't expect. Just fantastic in a 6/4 time. Chords changing structure, people stepping in. I mean, that's when it started to open up for me the possibilities of what gospel and black music could be, because that's
it started from there. It started, that's where it started. It started in that kind of, it started with the spirit. It started with the spirit, and it went into all the genres. And I don't care if the music comes from Latvia, and no matter what it is. But our music here, in Canada, United States, and what we love so much, it started from the spirit, and then it became the blues and the jazz and rock and roll and country and folk music. Even the best people, all the best people have got that spirit about them. From Dylan, who I at times they are changing. Who can forget that? And even with the first tune that we put out, which was a million cylinders, give me just a little more time, that kind of thing. So those kinds of things reach into the heart of people and stay with them with a little bit of the right melody and the groove, and the beat, and the help from other people. We're not alone, man.
I'm just looking at that. I don't know where I want to start. Actually, you know what? I know exactly where I want to start. Hold on a second. Let's start with just this incredible track. All I Need Is You.
Yeah.
You got Ruthie Foster picking it up just when you weren't expecting a second voice, and then you got Colin in there, Colin Linden, and the three of you are just moving forward into the wind. It's a great song.
Yeah. Well, thanks to modern technology, I was able to send her the lyrics. I actually sent her 2 or 3 tunes, and that was the one that I decided that would be the best one for us. Our voices just blend together because we've done 2 tours together, one in Europe, her and I and Eric did, and then when she came to Canada, she requested that I open for her, which I did, and 4 or 5 venues here. And we just get along great. I love her and I love the band. She's got a great band. She's got a great work ethic. When we were in Europe, we'd go downstairs to get ready to go, and Ruthie would be there waiting for us. She's ready. And trust me, man, when we got on the stage, she did her thing. I just love her. She's something that she's someone who gets a lot of love.
We spent 5 years in the Okanagan on the Naramata Bench in wine country, and
I see.
And she would do a midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning church service in a winery cellar room. They'd move all the barrels out of the way.
Oh my God!
Everybody would have a glass of wine or 2.
Yes.
And she would take us from Saturday night music into Sunday morning music.
Yeah.
And we're not hurting anybody. We're in a constructed building meant to just house wine. Fantastic.
See? Yeah.
And the name of the label was Blasted Church.
Well, Jesus interrupted his mother and father having a party, and he said, "Okay, sorry, here, let me do this for you. Give me that jug of water over there." He turned it into wine, and he left. Like a good lad's supposed to. So it's the wine of the spirit we're talking about, and Ruthie's got it.
I'm talking to Harrison Kennedy. Are you in Hamilton currently?
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'm in Hamilton.
I'm at Vancouver Island, so we're a long ways away. But however,
yeah, I played there a couple of times. Beautiful place.
I need to know.
Yeah.
Being a person of color, were you surrounded by? When did you become aware that there were
blues
of who you were, what you were, the life in front of you, your family, your friends? What? Tell me. What was
I've had a couple of experiences that was, I guess, our minds are like sponges, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't like I had this kind of intellectualized foreknowledge of being a person of color. The very first instance I had, I was very, very happy to be asked to read from this book when I was in grade 1. I was in a special class and I could read. I remember in kindergarten seeing all the alphabet across the ceiling, well, actually the top of the blackboard. And I asked the teacher why the letters were so big. she says, well, we're going to learn them. I said, well, it's the alphabet. It's A, B, C, D, F. She says, you know that already? How do you know that? I said, I didn't know how I knew it, but I knew it. But anyway, I felt very proud of the fact. She said, Harrison, you read this little chapter and bring it back to tomorrow at school, and you can read it to the class. Now, I didn't know that my mother's response to what she asked me to read would actually, I was hurt by her response and a little bit angered because I was only 5 or 6 years old. And she said, you're not reading this book. And I didn't understand why. She said, you're coming with me tomorrow. So I came up to school and I'm just not understanding why she's angry. And it's not a good thing when your mother gets angry. And she said, this book, Little Black Sambo, is not going to be read by my son. Wow. And she had it taken out of the school. I thought, he just runs around a tree and turns into butter. She said, no, he doesn't. Ever. You're never going to read it. And then I thought about that was my first instance. My second instance, though, that was pointed out to me when I was in high school. I was getting on a bus and I was with all my friends. Let's see, there was a guy who was an Irishman, another one who was from Serbia, a Scot, and all white guys, right? I get on the bus, and next thing I know, they got this guy pinned up against the wall. I say, hey, what the hell's the matter with you guys? What the hell are you doing? You don't have to take that crap, Harrison. I said, what crap? And the guy made a statement and said, why does black guys getting on the bus in front of all of you guys? Well, they were my school buddies. And they grabbed him and had him up against the wall, wanted to beat the shit out of him. I had to stop him to do it. And I thought, geez, okay. Yeah, there were people like that. When I guess the guy was from the United States, right? And he says, well, we don't put up with that shit down there. And the guys, and I said, you better go. I said, these guys are going to beat the shit out of you, especially the Irishman, because he's really pissed off. So those are the things. And plus, of course, I travel a lot in the United States. And when I was younger, I didn't really realize we were going to another country. Yeah. You just would go across the border. The longer I sat in the car, the more I realized, of course, my butt was getting sore because we were going down to Alabama. I have relatives all through the United States, and a lot of them now are in Detroit. Most of them are in Hamilton here because they moved up here in the 1800s. But I still have a lot of relatives down there, and we stay in touch. But I remember traveling and I looking out the window one time, and I saw all these guys on the side of the road, all dressed the same, and they were singing. And it was a guy on a horse with a rifle. And I just kept that in my mind. I never questioned anything because as a youth, it wasn't respected if you asked too many questions, kind of thing. But I thought about that. These are the things that I saw and reflected on. I think the age of reflection for me was probably when I was about 12, going into high school, and that's when I started thinking about what the hell's going on. What did that mean? Where was that coming from? All that kind of stuff. So it was an ongoing thing. Of course, I heard things all along in the church. I heard the elders speak. Like one of my cousins was captured by the Nazis, and with his troop, they got lost, and evidently got captured by the Nazis. And the officer that captured him had a woman with him, and wanted him to come in the back into the woods to see if he had a tail, because the woman that was with him said they heard that all black people have tails. Yeah, this was a guy that was fighting for our country. Yeah. So it's all kinds of things like that over the years, and geez, I could just go on and on and on about that. But then again, there's a lot of good things that happened as well. But as far as people being rude, mean-spirited, it happened a lot. It still does. But I'm sorry. If I haven't done the crime, I'm not doing the time.
Yeah. 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 This is the skin I'm in. That's right. This is the skin I'm in. This is me.
Exactly.
Hell.
And it's too many nice things happen to me, man. I've had too many really awesome people. What you mentioned, Colin, God, so many people like that. Andrew Galloway, Electrify. This man is a saint as far as I'm concerned. And trust me, I've had some people in this record business that the only thing they cared about was their money. You have to care about your money, but they didn't give a shit about us.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you have you been following the play that you've been getting out west, particularly in Alberta on CKUA?
Man, let me tell you something. I am really looking. I love, you know what, out there, the West has been better for me than any other province in Canada. You know, I played all the places out there, and I certainly, as a matter of fact, I've used a Cindy, who she's another. You're talking about people that I care for a lot. She wrote liner notes for me, you know, and spot on. You know, there's another person that's for real. You know, everybody on this album is, even the guys that I use are actually, some of them are live out west. You know, like John Diamond and the guys that I use. These are just pros, professional dudes, put their heart and soul into it.
Gary Craig, John Diamond, what a great band you had in the studio with you guys.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Jesse O'Brien, he's from town here.
Yep. Yeah, great producer. And these are all your tunes. Yeah. How old are
yes.
these songs?
Well, Jesse and I started working on them in the basement in his house about 3 years ago.
So they're fresh.
Yeah. They're fresher than me. And yeah, we would go down, and what I would do is I say, here, I got this tune. And then I would sing it. And then he'd say, okay, record it. And then he'd put music to it. And then we'd listen to the music and just go on that way. And of course, I've always liked the one tune that I did that wasn't mine. Was with Van Morrison.
Yeah.
I always liked Van Morrison. I opened for him many years ago. And he was playing a saxophone, actually, in Victoria. No, it was Seattle, Washington. And his band was on stage. My band was the Parliament Funkadelic. And he could play the sax, man. But I also loved his lyric, you know. I've appreciated his lyric as well as his singing voice. So many things, but they're so nice and I can remember.
Do you know Dawn Pemberton? Have you met her?
I don't believe so.
Wonderful singer. Wonderful singer. She does a show on CKUA and is now starting to co-host the Top 30 Countdown every Friday. You're on it.
You know what? The last time I was out there, the guy that chauffeured me around was the station owner. I didn't even know that until after Andrew points says, yeah, he owns the station. I said, you're kidding. He picks us up, driving me to the gig.
But you know, CKUA is donor supported almost 100 years now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The show in front of me is Holger Peterson's blues show, his first blues show.
You're talking about another guy that I really care a lot about.
Holger. There you go. He's been doing that show for 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless these guys that are still, you know, got whatever.
I was just
it's the support.
I was just looking, trying to find your current spot. Apparently I can't tell you, it's embargoed. I can't tell you where you are in the top 30. You hang in there, hang in.
4 months, man. It's been out for 4 months, and the last week I looked, I was #1 in Canada. And a lot of it, I think, has got to do with what's happening out west, you know. But you know, I'm looking forward to playing back out there again, man. I want to go.
But when are you coming?
I'm waiting for him to ask. You know, I'm doing my best. I'm making the best music that I can, and I'm putting in for JUNO. I'm putting it in for, you know, American awards. I'm putting it in for Grammy, Maple Blues Awards. I'm just trying my best to get back out there, and on whatever way they want it, a solo, duo, band, you know. Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you what else I'm playing besides All I Need Is You.
That?
I'm playing Thanks for Tomorrow, title.
Yes.
Colin. I'm playing Crazy Love, the cover. I'm playing Memphis Strippin' with Colin. I'm playing Cranky Woman with Colin. I'm playing Philosophy with Colin. I like the electricity. I like the the tightness
Thank
of
you.
your groove. Tell me
Thank you.
about, you tell me a song that you want to talk about.
Well, the tune on their Women
Yeah.
meant, every tune on there means something to me. Because I look at the way I do the blues, I use the genre of soul, of course, and the blues, but I like to talk about what's happening today and how it's affecting people. I was brought up with my 5 women. My great grandmother, who was the boss,
Wow.
my grandmother, my mother, and her 2 sisters. I learned a lot of things from them. There was no man around, but they were my teachers. For instance, one day on a Saturday, I was still in bed and it was 10:30. My mom walked into the room. Now, my name was Harrison. She named me, but she called me Harry.
Yeah.
Most of my friends called me Harry, but when my mom called me Harry at another meeting, she said, "Harry, are you sick?" And I thought, "No, I'm not sick. I'm 12 years old, of course, and full of piss and vinegar." And I said, "No, I'm not sick." She said, "Well, you're still in bed at 10:30." And I said, "Yeah, well, I worked really hard in school all week. I'm getting A's and everything, so I'm relaxing." She said, "Oh, are you?" She said, "Do you know how far the market is from here?" I said, "I wonder why she's asking me a math question. I'm trying to rest." I said, "Mom, it's about 2 miles. Why?" She said, "Well, I just came back. We don't have a car." I said, "I know." She said, "Well, I just came back there carrying 2 bags of groceries. And I'm going to finish up the laundry for you and your 2 brothers. Then I'm going to start supper. I'm going to count to 5 and you're going to get up." She looked at me. She said, "4. Man, let me tell you something. If that was a high jump, I just won the world's record because I got up out of that bed." And she said, "Son, I'm going to tell you something. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary." I never forgot that. I mean, I went to the golf course. I get out there at 4 o'clock in the morning and just become a caddy. And I learned how to play golf. Work's a beautiful thing. you know, as a matter of fact, I just got together last week with a good friend of mine, Steve Strongman, who's got a beautiful elbow, and I did a couple of tunes for him and played my first 18 holes of golf in 30 years with him. And Christ, I didn't have to take a friggin' Tylenol the next day. I don't understand that. But yeah, yeah, that's it, buddy. Yeah. A lot to me is like I've been fortunate enough. I think what I take out of a situation is I always look for the best things. Yeah. And a lot of times they're not the best things, but I can sing about them. When I was in university, I took a double major in chemistry and in English. I took English because I wanted to study Chaucer. I took Chaucer because of the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales, to me, are an awful lot like blues. This man traveled from one end of the country to the next and told stories about what he saw, who he saw, what was going on. To me, that's the blues. Or he said it in an English way, and also in a language was very tough to read. Yeah.
The blues is the
Yeah.
truth. How about that?
Absolutely.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
If it's
about,
not the truth,
it's
and the
about,
people, the downside of that is that you can tell the truth. It can be the truth, but it's not the truth just because you're saying it.
yeah.
If you're not feeling it, it's got to be felt. It's got to be someplace you're coming from. It's got nothing to do with the color of your skin. But if you don't feel it, you're just dealing up some words like they're doing with a lot of pop music right now.
Yeah. They all, you know what? I got it. I just had that thought this morning. They all sound
Mm.
like a Pepsi commercial. They all sound like they're selling
Good way
something
to
in
put it.
30 seconds. That's it. Just hang in
Yeah,
for 30 seconds.
yeah, yeah.
And by the
Very
way,
good.
we'll just
Yeah,
keep singing this same phrase over and over again,
yeah,
like you're in a stadium. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about Lives Lived, which is maybe
Okay.
comes back to the title track.
Hmm. Well, this one was about women.
Yeah.
It was women. Yeah. Women know right from wrong. see something they want, it's almost gone. You know, that kind of thing. They want freedom and respect too. You know, it's that kind of thing. So that's why I sang that song. Um, that's the one that probably meant a lot to me because of being brought up by my mom, who worked so hard to try to keep us together. She passed away about 7 years ago. And uh, it was her that used to call me downstairs when I was in bed, young. And she said, Harrison, come downstairs. Now, we were bootleggers. And uh, Duke Ellington was in my house, Dakota Staten, uh, Billie Holiday, and oh God, just goes on and on. And she'd say to me, can you sing that song for me that I like? And I had no idea what song she was talking about because I just didn't have any songs. I could sing, but I didn't have any songs. So I made up a song with my Uncle Clifford, who was sitting on the couch, and he had kind of nodded off with his cigarette, was still going. So I sang a song. There's Uncle Clifford sitting on the couch. He doesn't know his cigarette's gone out. He's dripping his ashes all over the floor. And everybody just started laughing and everything, filled my hands up with quarters. And Mom, she said, okay, son, go to bed. So that was the first song that I ever wrote. So I blame her.
Okay, so hold that thought while I ask you a couple of tough questions. Is Thanks for Tomorrow better than Bittersweet? Is it better than Skin I'm In?
You know what? I think it's the best thing that I've done
It is the best
ever.
thing you've done. I'm glad you
Yeah,
said that because
that's a consensus of opinion. It's mine too.
Yep.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's the first time that I dared to sing all the genres that I feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
Everything from rock and roll to blues to country to soul to ballads. I'm believable in all of those songs if I find the right one. But like the second song on the album, I thought, I think Taj Mahal would like this one. No, it's kind of got that country groove feel to it, Very simple, 3 chords. And the other one is I'm Doomed. I started writing that, and I was just singing when I played the guitar on that one, and I was just thinking of Spanish, And the reason why it doomed is because that's what my sweetheart's father said to me when I asked him if he minded me moving in with his daughter. And after he said, you see that up there, lad? He's a Scotsman. Everybody had gone out of the room. Now I'm just in there by myself. And I said, yeah, I can see that up there. He said, you know what it is? And I said, so I'm showing my intelligence again. I said, that's called a catwalk. He says, no, he says, you see what's on it? I said, it looks like alcohol. He says, it's scotch, for God's sake. I said, well, I don't drink scotch. I don't know. Grab it, bring it down. So I brought it down, put us a wee dram. A dram. Now I knew the measurement of the dram, but I didn't know where the hell I was going to find a dram. And then he pointed out these 2 little glasses there that were sitting there. That's a dram. He said, bring them over, that. So I brought them over. And he poured. He said, you see where it goes? And I said, yeah. So we toasted. He says, so what is it you want to tell me, lad? And I said, well, Diana and I are thinking of, becoming a couple. Being together forever. He says, pour us another. So I poured it, and he said, you're doomed. Well, I tell you, man, I didn't know whether the shit fly or what to do on that when he said that. But we've had a great, it's been great ever since. He's just down to earth guy for real again, I'm doomed. So I wrote that song, Doomed. First time I saw you, didn't stand a chance.
What's the best song you ever wrote? Or
The
is it
best
yet to
song?
come? Or is it yet to come?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't feel, honestly, I'll admit, I feel that this album is the best album I've done. but I haven't put out the best song yet.
All right.
That's going to have to depend on people. I think that's going to have to depend on people.
Well, that's all in
I
front.
I always
Harry, that's all in front of you. That's all in front of you. That's coming. It's coming.
thank you. I'm trying.
If you could listen, we are a station, CKUA, that plays everything. We play everything. Whoever's sitting in the chair is a specialist in what they're playing. That's their life. And so if that's hundreds of albums in a week, you get to make the top 30. You're in there. You're in the mix, and we can see. So we all are playing your music from different directions. It's just it's a tough road to hoe that top 30.
Oh Lord.
And you're there, and you're sticking there. You're staying. It's not a come and go. It's not a drive through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, what it is to me is humbling. You know, I grew up in a tough neighborhood with a tough life, and it was difficult for me to say thank you or to feel humble. But the older I've got, of course, my stepfather had told me one time, he says, the older you get, the smarter I'm going to get. Right again. And I find it, you know, my mother told me about manners being powerful. But it's one thing to know how to use manners, but it's another thing to have the feeling of humility behind it. And I feel that way right now with what's happening for me all across the country with this music. And I feel that way also just in life. I feel humbled by the fact that I'm here. We've both had people that we love pass on. The hardest part I have with, because when you're a logical thinker and you like to think things out, and you finally run up against something that you can't ever think out, there's no logic to it, it happens, and you just have to accept it. It's a tough pill to swallow if you're an individual who all your life you're taught to figure things out, to work things out, to think about it. This is something that can't be. So I accept that now about life. I like to see it as it is, accept it as it is. But I'm not into being that judgmental. It don't have to be judgmental. If I see something's wrong, it's wrong, but without me going to join the thing or carrying a flag or saying F2Do or putting the Canadian flag upside down with an American flag beside it. No. I lost uncles in the Second World War, man. I'm not going to go there. And to me, that is just wrong. I see it, I look at it, and that's wrong. I'm not going to have a debate about it. It's wrong. Yeah. And if a person wants to think it's right, that's hey, it's their karma, not mine.
It begs the question.
Yeah.
It's just a border, but look at the difference. Exactly. Look at
oh my God,
the life you can make for yourself here.
Yes, I know. Boy, that was a hell of a smart move. My ancestors came up here with First Nations people.
Yep.
And they showed them the way. It wasn't the Underground Railway. It was all the rivers and everything, because they knew because they were slaves too. So I understand. And when they came up, because a lot of First Nations people were incarcerated, taken off their land and stuff like that, and they had Black people that were with them. And so I've come to understand. I actually can speak a little bit of Mohawk, because I spent a lot of times in my neighborhood. It was everything: Mohawk, Iroquois, Mississauga, Irish, Scottish, Latvian, Ukrainian. My best friend was a Ukrainian. I used to go over here, but I used to go over his place and eat more petaha and pierogies, and they treated me like I was one of them. Like it was just amazing, man. It's Canada. It's Canada, Great. It's just one neighborhood, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. What you've done is you've got, as Charlie Mingus played and said, better get it in your soul. You've got it in your soul. You have us in your soul, and we're lucky to have you.
It's good to be had, brother.
All right.
It really is.
You're making music now. I know that you have a guitar off to your left, my right. I don't know that it's tuned, but
Mhm.
could you leave us with a tune?
Okay. I love you because you've been so good. You've been so good to me today. Whoa, I love you because you've been so good to me. Oh, Lord, and let me tell you that it really makes me happy. Oh, thank God for your partner. You're something else. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, I think you're something else. Oh, you got me on the Zoom. Thank you for making some room. Oh, Lord, Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. I love what you're doing.
Goodbye.
Oh, Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. Let me tell you, I love what you're doing. And I want to thank you for making this room.
Yeah. Yes.
See you later, brother.
Cheers.
That's the
Come
new one.
west. Come west, young man. Come west.
I'm trying. Okay,
Do it.
buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, peace.